The 11th house is the Cancer house. So it is ruled by moon. So moon is a very waxing and waning planet. And Virgo ascendants, because the 11th house ruler is moon, I've seen that people love to get emotionally engaged with the networking group. That is how they see. They want an emotional, touch with the people they want to mix, just not like mixing for the business purpose. Some emotional touch should be there. They want to nurture them, because wherever Cancer is, that is a nurturing sign. They want to nurture their groups. They want to make a homely atmosphere with the group. But one thing about moon is that moon is the strength of the moon in the horoscope is very important to determine whether 11th house is becoming strong, because the 11th lord has to be strong. So whether it's in bright moon near, what I mean, Shukla Paksha moon, and towards going towards Purnima, or immediately it has crossed Purnima, so that the strength of the moon should be seen. So see, 11th lord, if it is in 12th, it can give some emotional losses also from the networking circle, from gains and all this. It can make a people dreamer, wanderer about desires, but in Leo, because the moon will be in Leo, they may think very big, but whether that will be achievable or not, that's a question. Now, when moon, this 11th lord, comes onto the Lagna, on the Virgo sign, then these moons become they become very, they become ambitious about the 11th house things, the achievements they want to do with the desires become more, and they become very analytical about the desires, because moon, whenever it is in Virgo, then it imbibes the characteristics of the Virgo sign. It becomes very analytical, critical, and it weighs a lot of things goes on in their mind, because moon is the mind. So with the 11th house, the mother can also bring some importance, and can fulfill their desires in some way. Mother becomes very important also over here. So elder siblings, especially if there is a elder sibling like sisters or brothers, they can play a very important part. That can also happen. Now, if moon goes to Libra, that is the second house, then the 11th lord in second is a good combination, and they become very, they are very Libra moon. They love all the good things in the home front, because it's a Dhana Yoga also, and especially if his moon is in Swati Nakshatra, they usually become a businessman, and they run a family business or something like that. It's a good position for the moon being in Libra. So then comes the third house. Third house, it will be Scorpio. Here moon gets debilitated. So debilitation of the moon can create some issues, because see, moon does not work very good in the third house, and on top of that is a Scorpio sign. So here some problems can be there with your communications, your neighbors, some up and down in the relationship with the siblings. Your communication skills can be a little different. Your mind can be, because it is the mental this thing of the third house, mind can get disturbed due to desires, everyday desires. They want it to be fulfilled, something like that. It is not a very good position, because see, whenever you see moon as a planet, leave it as an 11th lord, moon, whenever it sits in the 3rd, 6th, 8th and 12th, this is not a very comfortable position for the moon. It does not behave very good in these houses. That's what I have seen most of the time. So that is the case with the 11th desire lord going into the third house. Though every day they may have a very, they want to do every day some desires, some small desires, they want to get it fulfilled. The person can go into a depressive state of mind, that overthinking can happen with such situation in the daily things that they do and all this. Even the 6th house moon is also like that. 4th house moon is good, being in the sign of Sagittarius, it should be good because fourth house is the original this of the moon. Their home front can be good. They can have contentment at heart. They can feel very nurtured. They can have nice house to live in. Fourth house, 11th lord in fourth house in this case for Virgo ascendants is good. Then comes 11th lord in the fifth house. So fifth house here, it is the Capricorn sign. Now Capricorn moon is not very good because it is a Satanic sign. They may think too much about their progeny. They may think too much about their status, because Capricorn is the sign of status. Wherever it is, you want your status to grow up in that area. They can become very much a little bit more concerned about the fifth house matters, like love matters, like progeny matters. All these things can happen. But still, nonetheless, because it is the fifth lord, the 11th lord and the fifth means it is aspecting its own house, the 11th house, there can be profound gains also from this position. Some desires will be fulfilled. Not really, it's a good, more or less good position. Sixth house moon in Aquarius is not good. Sixth house moon is never good, because see, the mother can be sickly. There can be impediments in getting the desires, because 11th lord, when it comes to the 6th, it is coming to its 8th position from the 11th house. So there is a lot of problem with the moon, and so they have to constantly deal with the daily chores which they may not like. Their desires can have a lot of difficulties in achieving them, all these things. Now comes moon in Pisces in the 7th house. In the 7th house, moon is in Pisces. There will be a lot of desires, dreamy desires with the marriage, with the partner, all these things. They have all their focus on the partner, because as it is where the moon is sitting, the moon has all its mind. The mind goes towards that. That is the 7th house, and here it is the desire lord also. So it's a bonus on top of it. So all the things they want to do it with the partner. The partner, too much focus can be there on the partner, too much expectations can be there, which has to be a little curbed for the betterment of running of the marriage. 8th house moon is not good. 8th house moon has a lot of difficulties, though it is in the sign of Aries, but still 8th house moon is like you'll see a lot of up downs in life, because 8th house, whenever a planet goes, it's very difficult for the planet to adjust with that 8th house matters. And on top of that, moon is a very waxing waning planet, so this is not a good position. The 11th lord in the 8th house, a person must be conscious about it, that they should not go into depression, because things will happen which can hurt their mind. They can feel hurt within. The mother can have some issues in their life. They can not be that much supported by their mother. These things can happen. Inheritance also can be a waxing waning story. Whether they get it or not, it depends on where is Mars situated and how well it is situated. Now 9th house moon is good because it is in Taurus, in exaltation. They'll have a close bonding with the father. They love the distance travels, higher learning, philosophical point of view. Mind will be very calm minded and very nice environment loving person. They want it's a good moon. 11th lord being exalted in the 9th house, it's a good position. And 11th lord, when it goes to Gemini in the 10th house, 11th lord in the 10th is usually good. There can be a lot of dealing with public people, because Gemini is a 3rd house and moon is also a public planet. So there can be a lot of public dealings with people. Some harsh criticism can come in. Some up and down in the profession may also happen, but major desires can be fulfilled through the profession. This is where Cancer, only thing in the 11th house, when Cancer the sign is there, most of the planets does good, but Mars gets debilitated over there. So there Mars does not function very well in the 11th house. Other than that, most of the planets do well. Saturn also can give some impediments in the fulfillment of desires if it is situated in the 11th, but Saturn, if it is in Pushya Nakshatra, then it is a better placement in Cancer. So that is how the 11th house is for the Virgo ascendants. Now I go to the Libra ascendant. For the Libra ascendant, the 11th house is the Leo sign. It is the sun over there. So sun is the 11th lord, and sun, if it goes into the 12th house, then some luck factors can have some problem. Father may have to travel far and wide, may not be able to give much time. Some soul searching can happen in the 11th house, 12th house. Whenever I've seen the sun in the 12th house, then these things can happen. And sun in the sign of Cancer, the 12th house, sun in the sign of Virgo, 12th house, can give some some analytical thinking, because sun being in a Mercurian sign. So this is okay position, not good very much. If it goes on the Lagna also, then also its sun is on the Lagna in Libra ascendant. The 11th lord going on to the Lagna is not a very good thing, because sun gets debilitated over here. Because sun is the first house, it creates a lot of false ego also at times. And the desires can go a little, the resources to fulfill the desire can go missing. There may be a lot of desire piling up within the person, but that problem can happen with the 11th lord getting debilitated on the Lagna. Same thing happens for the Aries people when 11th lord Saturn gets debilitated on the Lagna. So debilitation of a planet is not that the planet going bad. The problem with debilitation is that the planet runs out of resources to fulfill those desires. That is the problem with the debilitation of a planet. Something you have to do where you have to work it everything on your own from the scratch. So whatever desires you have will not be fulfilled by, and they usually, Libra people, when they see wherever Leo is the 11th house, no? So here they will not have very big networking circles, because they feel to be the superior over there, because sun is the lord of the 11th house. Sun is a king, and it's not the work of the sun to build huge networking circles. If other factors are running, then it's different, but usually the the king loves to stay alone or superior in the circle. So that kind of a thing. And if they feel, they will make other persons inclusive in their circle. Otherwise, because Libra people are even very choosy also, because Venus is such a planet. If Venus is well situated for a Libra person, they do not compromise with class. That is also a thing. So if the 11th house is very good, they will only love classy people in their group. That is also a fact about the Libra people. Now, sun in the second house. Sun in the second house in the sign of Scorpio, 11th lord going into the second is definitely a Dhani Yoga, kind of Dhani Yoga, especially if it is aspected by another good planet also, it's even better. But see, Scorpio is such a sign, one must understand that the gains, the savings can go for a transformation, because wherever Scorpio is, and if a planet goes into Scorpio, some kind of transformation will be seen. Maybe the savings will wash out, and then a new process of income generation can come. The family itself, the father itself can go through a transformation, because the desires are related to the family. So when sun, the 11th lord, is going into the second, some transformation with that that planet is seen in the second house, being in the sign of Scorpio. Sun usually, though it is the friend of Mars, but in Scorpio it's a little difficult position, because Scorpio, any planet going into Scorpio cannot behave in the proper manner actually. So it's a little difficult position as far as the sun is concerned. And the house environment can go for a lot of change. The desires may change, because you will understand that one desire has to go away, another comes, something like that can happen with the second house sun. Then sun coming into the third house of Sagittarius. Sagittarius is a good place for the sun. Third house is the Upachya house. Sun works well over here. Anything you want to put your effort, you shine bright in your neighbors, you want to shine bright in some kind of communication skills, some kind of media advertising work if you do, or any government job if you do, if you have to move from one place to another. But it is a good position. Your daily desires can get fulfilled very well. The sun being placed in Sagittarius, and if Jupiter is also a little bit well placed. Then sun comes to the 4th house. 4th house is the Capricorn house. Now 4th house and 5th house, sun comes into the enemy sign, that is Saturn. And Saturn being a yoga karak planet for the Libra ascendants, here sun in the 4th house is not comfortable. It loses its strength totally over here, and also it is sitting in the enemy sign. So here there can be a lot of problems in the house. There can be problems with father's health. There can be mental problem when your house can have some issues. You may have big desires, but it may not show up if the sun is situated in the sign of Capricorn. You have to work hard for those things, because sun being in Capricorn or Saturn being in Leo, it's a difficult position actually for both the planets, because both are in dire enemy houses. So it is like that. Similarly, sun for the 5th house also, there can be children can come late, there can be one single issue. If other factors are not determining it, the issue can come late. There can be a tussle as the progeny grows up. There can be tussle with the person who is the Libra ascendant and sun in the 5th, because all the desires are with the child, but the child can have a different opinion from the parent. That can also happen over here, because it's a clash of sun and Saturn, that kind of a thing. And love affairs can go dry, because sun is a dry planet. It gives a lot of ego. It's an ego planet. It's a dry, rough ego planet. It's a natural malefic kind of a thing. Sun is it's a glorious planet, but it's a dry planet. It flares up a lot of ego wherever it is sitting. That is it. 6th house sun will be good in Pisces, though sun is not very comfortable in watery sign, but still in Pisces it is in Jupiter's house, and 6th house the sun is good. The vitality of the person will be good. Daily work will be done in a routine. He will have good strength, should have strength of the health, and can follow a regime, can be having a lot of people work under him, all these things can happen. Sun in the 6th house is good. Father can also be quite a very vitality, having vitality throughout his life, all this. Next comes the 7th house. 7th house sun in Aries gets exalted. Now 11th lord getting exalted in the 7th house, it is a good position, given the fact that you can have a lot of desires fulfilled from your partner, but again sun gives a lot of ego. Now where the ego comes from, you or the partner can, that there lies some ego in the relationship, because 7th house is a house of marriage, and rough planets like Mars, Sun, Rahu, Ketu, they create a lot of issues. Saturn gives a lot of struggle, and Saturn can continue this thing for a long time, but here Sun being in its exaltation may act very bossy. That can be a thing, and want to get all the desires fulfilled by the partner. Though the position is good, that's the thing. If any business also, if it has to run, it has to lose the ego, or no partnership business should not be done if Sun is there in the 7th house. In the 8th house in Taurus, as it is, Sun is not a very favorable planet in the Venusian house. It can give hidden artistic qualities, Sun being in Taurus, but family wealth also can get family wealth also from here. But Sun in the 8th house is loss of fame and glory in some way or the other, and some desires they will understand will not be fulfilled, or the desires will just have to stay with the fact that money or desires or whatever will be subdued. In some way it will be subdued. 9th house is Gemini for the Libra ascendant. Gemini sun is good for long distance journey, can have good relationship with the father, can have an ideal teacher, can love to go for higher studies, love long distance journey. So 11th house planet in the 9th house, sun in the 9th house is good, not bad. Though some problems remain with the sun being in the 9th house, some issues can remain, but still it is not nonetheless a bad position. Sun in the 10th house in the sign of Cancer, Sun gains total Digbala strength in the 10th house. Only thing is that Cancer is an emotional sign, so some kind of emotional factor or some kind of emotional thing can creep up in the professional area. You can be totally emotionally engaged with the professional you are undertaking, because the desire lord is in the 10th house, and Sun also is very strength, Digbal strength is there totally. So it is a good position, not it is really good. Sun in the 10th house is really good. If not afflicted by other bad planets, it can give really good results over here for Libra ascendant. Now after Libra ascendant, I come to the Scorpio ascendants. For Scorpio ascendants, the 11th lord is Mercury, and if Mercury is situated in its own house, they will have a lot of flair for money, and they will have big term, long term desires. They will go for business oriented mentality. They may want for spending on share marketing and all these investments related thing, because Mercury becomes very strong in its own exaltation sign, that is the 11th house, Virgo, and Mercury, if it is situated over there, it's a very strong position, no doubt. If Mercury goes to the 11th house or 12th house of Libra, then there can be there can be desire lord going to the 12th house can give foreign travels, but there can be many expenditure also, Mercury being there. Mercury in the 12th house is some overthinking is related to the Mercury in the 12th house. As it is Virgo Mercury, Scorpio people have very deep desires which cannot be understood. If it is on the Lagna, the desires are very high. Mercury in the 12th will give lot of thinking. The mind may be always running. It may be always running. That is one problem. The elder sibling can stay outside the country. That can happen. If it is on the Lagna, Scorpio Mercury, it gives lot of emotional intelligence, in the sense that the Mercury is a very deep thinker over here. Scorpio is a very deep sign. It's the original 8th house sign, and what happens when Mercury is over here, its desires are way more than it actually can fathom. 11th lord on this thing. Gains will happen, gains will come, gains will be good, but whatever gain comes, it may seem that it is less than what is the desire. Something like that can happen. The Mercury, if the 11th lord is in the 2nd house of Sagittarius, then Mercury and Sagittarius do not go very well, because it is a Jupiterian sign, and Gemini is the opposite sign of Sagittarius. So it will promote, if it is looking into the 8th house, it will promote more, you can get property related things, you can get 8th house things can get better fulfilled with this Mercury. But yes, obviously it is 11th lord and 2nd is a Dhan Yoga, so person will concentrate on the money. But Jupiter has to be very good for a Scorpio ascendant for the 2nd house to be really good, because Mercury is a very fickle planet. That is also a problem with Mercury. Mercury in the 3rd house in Capricorn, this is good for communication, lot of speech ability is very high, can be some public speaker, can be in some advertisement. The siblings can have a sweet and sour relation with the sibling, that can also happen. But Capricorn Mercury is good. 4th house Aquarius also, Mercury is good in Aquarius, this is what I found, that though it's a Saturnic sign, Mercury works good because it's the original 11th house. So the desires will be to buy good houses, property, but sometimes they feel a little unsettled, because Mercury is a very frivolous planet. So that feeling of unsettlement can be there always wherever Mercury is there. Mercury in the 5th house, it's in its debilitation in Pisces. So here there can be some issue with the progeny, love affairs and name and fame and all these things. But still one thing is that though in its debilitation it is aspecting its 11th house, gains can be good. But the name and fame factor and all these things can be marred, because Mercury will not get the resources to do those things which will give the name and fame. So here that's the issue. 6th house Mercury is like dealing with Rogrin Shatru in the sign of Aries. it's okay position, not very good, but there can be fight with maternal, little bit not desires can be with the sixth house, that how to make money, or how to suddenly take a loan, or the relation with maternal uncles and aunts may not be good, or even the elder sibling, because Mercury is the 11th lord. So elder sibling, 11th lord coming into the 6th can have some bitter moments with that person also. These things can happen. Now when Mercury comes into Taurus, this is Mercury in the 7th house, though in its friendly sign, I don't find this a very good placement, because there are a lot of desires and expectation from the other partner. But the other partner is very sway, because Mercury is always, one must understand, Mercury is a very fast moving planet, and it changes very fast. And why it changes? The partner, a lot of you may have a lot of desires with the partner, you may want to fulfill all the desires. If there is not a good planet, as even Venus Mercury sitting in the 7th house, not very good. The partner can change, can have frivolous nature, can be not very serious about the 7th house things. Those things can happen, though it is a desire lord, it's a big desire with the 7th house, but those desires can create a lot of problems in the person's life. Wherever desires are, problem is there. But here Mercury in the 7th is not a very good position for the long-term running of a marriage, if I can put it in that way, in a very good way. Mercury in the 8th house will be in own sign, Gemini. It will be good with all the 8th house factors, like inheritances, like taxes, like with the in-laws. They can have a relationship which is based on terms and conditions, based on desires, but the situation, at least it is in its own house. And Mercury is one planet I've seen is quite adaptable to the 8th house than other planets, though the main Karaka is Saturn of the 8th house, because it is death and all these things, transformation. But Mercury's adaptability to the 8th house is not bad. This is what I've seen. 9th house, it is in Cancer, Mercury in Cancer. It is also 11th lord in 9th, but Cancer sign, Mercury, Aslesha is nakshatra, own nakshatra of Mercury, Pushya Aslesha, but some problem regarding finding a proper higher education. If Sun is there, it can be better. It can be better if the Sun position, because then it gives the Buddhaditta yoga, because Sun is also the 10th lord. And Mercury, if it is in the 10th house in Leo, then some marketing job, some business job oriented things, some 10th house, 11th lord is good. 9th house, it is okay type, not very good, because given the sign of Cancer, Mercury does not work very well in that is why it gets debilitated in Pisces also. In the watery sign of Cancer and Scorpio, it does not work too well. But in the 10th, also Leo Mercury will also have some issues, but still it will give a crafty Mercury, some kind of craft which you will be implementing in your profession, and your desires will be fulfilled through that craft. So that is how the Scorpio ascendant's 11th house or Lord acts. Here another issue is that Venus is the 6th house Lord also. So for a Sagittarius ascendant, the 11th Lord in the 11th also can create some impediments in the fulfillment of desires. And 11th house is long-term desire. These are not short desires. So the 6th house can create definitely, and Venus is, as it is, it's not a very good planet for the Sagittarius people, as its lordship Jupiter is not a friendly planet for Venus. Now still 11th Venus will make the person work for the 11th house, for money, for networking circle. These people, they love to mix with the group that is a little diplomatic in nature. They themselves are also a little bit in the sense that, see, they want to have a big circle, but again that the finer qualities of Venus comes in, because Libra is a very diplomatic sign of Venus. So sometimes what happens, these people, the friend circle or the networking circle do not come much in use for them. for these people, for the ascendant. So these things can happen. Venus being the it is a luxury planet. They will love all the things that are better in life. Like they will not be easily satisfied with their purchases, or their dreams becomes a little, their desires become refined and classy, that kind of a thing. Now when Venus goes into Scorpio in the 12th house, it is not a good position, because Venus in Scorpio, the Scorpio as it is the 8th house and 12th house is being Scorpio sign being there, it is like the bed pleasures and all the other things, the comfort of the 12th house can go a little diminished, because the desires will increase. The 11th house and the 12th will give very long hidden desires, like going to foreign destination, for the elder sibling can be settled over there, that can happen. Then some wasteful expenditure of money can also happen, that can also happen. These things regarding the 12th house can happen. Now when 11th lord is on the Lagna in Sagittarius, Venus does not work very well in Sagittarius, not very well, though it has its own nakshatra over there. But still Venus and Jupiter, they do not match. Venus Sun, Venus Jupiter do not match, though Venus has all the nakshatras in all the three fiery sign, but still that is how it is for the Venus. Now first lord on the Lagna, it gives that kind of a problem, it may give that kind of a problem. If Venus comes in the 2nd house in Capricorn, it is better, but still Capricorn is it takes a little bit of time. The 11th lord in the 2nd, it should be good in the sign of Capricorn, because Venus is friend to Saturn, but still it requires time to accumulate wealth, because Capricorn is a very highly ambitious 10th house sign. So this takes a little bit of time for the money to increase. The family environment can be good, and they may love to eat and all these things. There are a lot of desires with the 2nd house when Venus comes in the sign of Capricorn, because Capricorn is also the sign of status. It is the original 10th house of status. So some kind of status they want in their family life, that is there. 3rd house Venus in Aquarius is good. Aquarius is a good sign of Venus. All the 3rd house significations like siblings, communication, short distance journeys and efforts, all these things can be put in. Daily life desires can be fulfilled. These things can happen. Venus in the 4th house in Pisces, it gets exalted over there. The person can have good house, good cars, and they can be very because Venus attains a different kind of quality in Pisces. It becomes quite spiritual. So these things can happen in the 4th house. It's a good placement. 5th house Venus is also good in the sign of Aries, because Venus is neutral with Mars and it is looking into the 11th house. There can be the relationship with the progeny, the love affairs can be good. The status symbol can also be good. Status can have a rise. Some nice things can be achieved because it is. But yes, it is the 6th lord. That is the only issue. That Venus is not only the 11th lord but the 6th lord also. That is the only problem. Little bit glitches can happen in the way. Now when Venus comes into the 6th house, though it is the own house, daily life affairs can be good, like daily job or something like that. But Venus does not work very properly in the 6th house. Venus gets original debilitation in the 6th house, in the sign of Virgo. That is the only issue with Venus over here. Some relationship can have a little turmoil. With the subordinates it can be good, but other relationships can face little bit issues. 7th house Venus is not bad because Gemini is the sign. All the desires goes into the 7th house. They can have a love marriage. They can have a beautiful partner also. The desires with the partner can also be high and can be achievable. All these things can happen. But again, the 6th lord in the 7th, some kind of here and there issues can be there in the marriage. 8th house, it is the Cancer sign. Here Venus actually is good for the other factors of the 8th house, but some hidden affairs can be there, some hidden desires can be there, which is too much for because the 11th lord in the 8th. 11th lord in the 8th is that you don't get the desires easily. The desires take time to be fulfilled, and so it can create a little bit of frustration also for this kind of a situation. Now 11th lord in the house of Leo, that is Venus in Leo, it can give a good relationship with father, and the person can be luxurious because Leo is a luxury sign, and Venus being there it can have good fortune also. 11th lord in the 9th, it's a good position. Can be too much, having a lot of affection for the father. These things can happen, and for higher studies and for gurus and all these things, this can happen. Now Venus in the 10th house in the sign of Virgo, here Venus gets debilitated. The resource, the 11th lord getting debilitated in the 10th lord, Venus as it is not very comfortable in the 10th house. In any classics you will find Venus is not very comfortable, not very good in the 10th house. So it can give career changes, or whatever things you take up as your profession, you can be lacking in resources. You can feel you do not have enough resources, because 11th lord will give lot of desires also regarding your profession, but you may feel that there is a scarcity of resources to fulfill those desires. That can happen, but otherwise that 11th lord in the 10th is a good position otherwise. Now I come to the Capricorn ascendant. Capricorn ascendant, 11th house is Scorpio. These desires, they keep it secret, because Scorpio is the most secretive sign, and any planet sitting into that 11th house will be kept secret. They would love keeping secrets. The networking circle will be low profile. They will not want to show it to the other people around them. All these things happen to the Capricorn 11th house, because Scorpio is the original 8th house, and also networking circles can go for a change also, because Scorpio is a transformation sign. With the networking circle, your life, you can learn and change, and the change may be it can be a little bit hard on you also, because Scorpio is transformation, not just change. So if Mars is situated here, big desires, very big desires, because Scorpio is very difficult to fathom as it is. Mars exalts in Capricorn. So 11th lord gets exalted on the Lagna. In the 12th house, if it goes into the 12th house of Sagittarius, that is also not bad. But yes, certain aspects of the 11th house it will create about the desires going into the 12th house. But if it goes on the Lagna, it becomes too much ambitious, and I've seen so many combinations like that. The Capricorn people will having Mars on the Lagna, and they are driven, they are all about ambitions, they are very worldly people, they look also good, they keep fit also, that kind of a people. All these things are there about so it's a very good position, but desires are unlimited actually. Second house, if it goes to Aquarius, Aquarius also has Capricorn and Aquarius both share Dhanishta Nakshatra of Mars. So Mars, if it goes in the second house, they will be very money minded, money oriented. Family can have little bit bickering in the family, because Mars in the Satanic sign can create that kind of a situation. But money wise, it is a very good placement, the 11th lord in the second. The third is Pisces, third Pisces sign. Efforts come from emotions. The emotions are so flared up that efforts will come from the emotions. That is there. The neighborhood can change, because Pisces is a changeable dual sign. They want to change from one place to another. All these things. Mars, whenever it is in a watery sign, though it holds us, it is an ownership of Scorpio, but Mars goes a little bit, tumultuous situation in the watery sign. In the 4th house, it is its own sign, Aries, so very good 4th house condition. Many desires can be fulfilled. Your big houses, big cars and all these things, and very driven at heart. But Mars 4th house can create little bit unsettled energy at the home front, or in your heart can feel a little bit unsettled, that kind of a thing. Then in the 5th house is the Taurus. Taurus Mars is also not bad because Mars gets exalted in a earthy sign. So Taurus is also an earthy sign. It's not bad. Progeny related things can be good, and though a little roughshod in the, because see, Mars is a very, it is a very fiery planet, and it can give some tussle with the progeny or in love affairs. But looking into the Scorpio in the 11th house, gains can be good, status can improve, that can be, all this can be good. 6th house Mars is good in Gemini, though Gemini is not a favorite sign of Mars, but 6th house Mars is always good for winning over enemies, competitions, completing the loans. Given Mercury is a little bit good position, 6th house Mars is good. Sun, Mars, Saturn, they good. These kind of planets, they Rahu, they do good in the 6th house. Then 7th house. 7th house, here Mars gets debilitated. Too much desires and too much odd desires with the partner can also happen, because it's a debilitation. Mars here creates a lot of bickering also. This position is not a good position, because Mars being in the 7th house is not desirable in relationships, and in the watery sign of Cancer it gets debilitated, and the desire lord being in here, it is not a desired position in the horoscope. That can create a lot of issues in the marriage of the person, or any partnership can lead to breakup also. 8th house, it is in the sign of Leo. Here Mars is good in Leo, but the problem with 8th house is Mars, too much fire in the 8th house can can break certain, because 8th house is already a very confused house, and too much fire, if it better, that is why 8th house Mars, 7th house Mars is not considered very good actually. Though Mars holds the original 8th house of Scorpio, here you have to be a little defensive, you cannot be fiery. So the situation, because there were a lot of desires about the 8th house, if Mars is in the 8th being the 11th lord, so it's a little tricky position. Leo, a fiery sign, Mars is too much fieriness in the sexual things can get flared up. With the relation with the in-laws, you can fight, you have to fight for the property, something, these things can happen with the fiery planet in the 8th in the fiery sign. Now when it comes to the 9th house Virgo, Mars is not bad, but Mercury being not a favorite planet, Mars and Mercury do not go well. It's okay. It can give a lot of the journeys can be there, but education, how long it will promote, that will depend on the Mercury. There can be some problems regarding the relationship can happen with the father, because it is the 11th lord, and it is also the 4th lord going into the 9th house. So they may have to buy property little far away from their place. These things can happen. 10th house Mars in the sign of Libra is good, because Mars gets Digbala strength and gets exalted in the sign of Capricorn also. So that way it's a good position for the 10th house, and 11th lord in 10th house also a good position. We always have seen that mostly. So this is a good position for Mars. For the Aquarius Lagna, the 11th and the 2nd lord is Jupiter. So here Jupiter holds the sign of Sagittarius. Aquarius people, they love huge networking groups, because they are the original 11th sign, and the groups are usually a little bit higher knowledgeable groups, usually. That is what I have seen, because having Sagittarius in the 11th house, they do not want to mingle with just for the sake of mingling. They don't want to do that. They want people who has little bit knowledge and knowledgeable, and they can speak about lot of topics, because 9th house is that kind of vibration it is having in the 11th house. The desires are huge. 9th house Sagittarius is the Kshatriya sign of Jupiter, so desires will be good, flared up. it is not the Piscean sign. The 11th house is not Piscean. Piscean is the 12th house of Jupiter. This is the 9th house. So here they want to rise their fortune through their networks. They want to mix with people, and they want to create that incoming gains through their networks also. That is also there. Now when Jupiter in the 12th house, if it is in Capricorn, then see, it is a debilitated Jupiter. Here Jupiter will not give much good results at all, because if they want to do philanthropy also, they will not be able to, the eagerness will not be there, because the Jupiter has lost its strength over here. Because though it is a Pisces sign originally, but here Capricorn being the debilitation sign of Jupiter, it is a little problematic with the 12th Jupiter over here, 11th Lord being in the 12th. Yeah, long distance journeys and foreign distance things can happen. Some networking with the foreign states, some incoming gain, some source of income from the foreign, these things can happen. If it is on the Lagna, Jupiter, then they are over concerned about their ambitions, their money, their family, and all these things. The networking circles, they always want to be involved. They want to be always constantly in that environment of people pleasing, because Jupiter is one must understand, Jupiter is a benefic planet, and when it is on the Lagna, the person has that kind of a situation, and the 11th Lord with the networking people on the Lagna, they are a little bit people pleaser also. They want to keep a pleasant relationship with the people around them. Though they will have their own set of principles, that is also there, but still they will think constantly about their desires, how to get it fulfilled, and all these things. In the second house, Jupiter is better. They will keep a track on their money. They will try to increase because it is in its Jupiter is in the own sign of Pisces. The family life can be quite a little bit spiritual. The family where they are born, if Jupiter is there in the second house, they would love to increase their finances in a good way. And though the gains can be, or the savings can be modest, not very flared up, unless and until a malefic aspects that house, but still it's a good placement. Third house, Jupiter in Aries, is okay. Not bad. It can give nice artistic talents and all, speech, some orators, good if Mars is well placed, because Mars is the 10th Lord also and the 3rd Lord. So here also Jupiter does well for the Aquarius ascendant, with the brothers and neighbors and all. They can have a good relationship over there. In the 4th house in Taurus, Jupiter is okay, because Jupiter is not very comfortable in the Venusian sign, but here it's okay. 4th house is the original Cancer sign of Jupiter in the Kalpurush Kundali, so Jupiter will not work bad over here. They'll have modest houses, good good family life, good gains, nice environment, the mother can be good, all these things. 5th house, Jupiter in the sign of Gemini. Here also Jupiter, see, Jupiter is such a planet, it gives a wholesome thing to that area. So status and upliftment of gains and all this, looking to the 11th house, all these things can be favored, all these things can be good. 6th house, Jupiter is in its exaltation, but it can create some diseases it can create in the person. But yeah, they will try to follow a strict regime, and they would love to win over their enemies in a very Jupiterian way. They will, it expands the area, so wherever Jupiter sits in the exaltation, Jupiter will give an expansive tendency. They would love to take loans. Desires should be fulfilled through the 6th house. They would love to go to a good place for work. They would want a good environment in the daily life, and because in its exaltation, it can win over its enemies also. That can also happen over a period of time. In the 7th house, Jupiter is in Leo. It is a okay position, Jupiter being in the sign of Leo, but 7th Jupiter is not considered too good, but marriage can be good, okay position. 11th Lord in 7th, it is having desired fulfillment through the partner. it's a okay position, good to better, like that kind of a position. And partnerships can be good, long running. Jupiter is the glue of a chart. It is Akash Tattva. It is the glue that bonds the things, so like that. Jupiter in the 8th house of Virgo. Here Jupiter can give some chronic diseases, otherwise it looks into the 2nd house and the desires of the 8th house becomes high. They can get properties from the in-laws, money, hidden money from the parents' inheritance, for tax related thing. Jupiter, it will not be bad over here. It is, though it is in the sign of Mercury, Virgo is not a very good sign for Jupiter, but it will be modestly to good over here in the 8th house. But 11th lord in the 8th, one problem is that one must the gains are a little bit delayed, or the desires can get a little bit delayed if not some good planet is there in the 11th house, sitting in the 11th house. So that thing. 9th house, it is the sign of Libra, so higher learning and all these things the person will have good luck, though Libra is not Jupiter does not feel comfortable in Libra because again it's a Venusian sign, but nonetheless 9th house Jupiter is good for higher learning, long distance journeys, relation with father, with gurus, all these things. A little diplomatic touch can be there because it's in the Venusian sign, but it's a good placement. 10th house in Scorpio, the profession can change over a period of time because 11th lord is in the 10th, so whatever one person was doing, it can change and then go into a different kind of new profession, because Scorpio is transformation. And another thing is that here Jupiter, because it's a soft planet, it's a good planet. 10th house Jupiter sometimes tries to please the people in the work area, so pleasing others can give a little bit less growth in the profession, so that kind of a thing. Otherwise it is a good placement anyway. And 11th house, if planets are sitting in the 11th house as Sagittarius, no planet gets debilitated over there. So if Jupiter is there, Moon is there, Sun is there, Venus, Mercury, mostly all the planets does good in the 11th house sign of Sagittarius for Aquarius ascendants. The last ascendant is Pisces. For the Pisces people, the 11th lord is Saturn. It is the sign of Capricorn. So see, it is the 11th lord and the 12th lord also. So Pisces people, they have lot of ambition. I've seen that because Capricorn is the status symbol. The group can be curbed, the networking group can be less, they can have less friends. That can happen because Satanic sign, and it will not give a very lovey-dovey relationship with the networking people around you. That can happen. But they want a status in the networking area, and they have desires, they have huge desires of their own. But one thing is that because Saturn is holding the 11th house lordship and the 12th house, they must always give some money in philanthropy, because otherwise some losses can happen if the 11th lord is in the 12th. Though Aquarius is the Saturn's Mool Trikon sign, they can stay abroad for some amount of time or may settle down over there. The elder sibling can go over there. They can have good foreign connections. Some philanthropy should be done so that the 11th house remain intact. Otherwise money can flow out a little bit from the incoming gains. If Saturn is on the sign of Pisces, always remember it's not only the 11th lord, it is the 12th lord also. Some solitariness is seen in this kind of a condition, but the person will achieve through hard work, through time, because Saturn, whenever it is on the Lagna, it makes the person grow with time, and it takes time. Saturn is not a fast moving planet. It can give lot of responsibilities also, lot of desires also, and all these things when Saturn is on the sign of Pisces. It can be 50-50 good. I'll not say it's a very good placement, because Saturn, the 12th lord, the 11th lord sitting on the Lagna, lot of other things can happen which is very Satanic in nature, like staying alone, going far of places and living in solitariness. Desires can be fulfilled, but one has to pay a little bit more for those desires, you know, because the karma of the 12th house is also involved in it. Now if Saturn is in the second house is the sign of Aries. Here Saturn gets debilitated. Somehow the savings can build up and deplete. That is a problem with this placement. 11th lord when goes into the second house and it sits in the sign of Aries, which is the debilitation sign of Saturn, foreign money can also flow. Desires or money can flow, savings will happen, but it may have some kind of an up down kind of thing, because Saturn gets debilitated over here. They may have to stay away from the family may not be very supportive. That can also happen, because Saturn being in the second will give a long time to build up the savings. The family can be a little cold and not very supportive. They may have to walk their way up by themselves, something like that. Now if Saturn is in the third house in Taurus, this is a good placement. Taurus is a good sign for Saturn, and Saturn also does good in the 3, 6, 10, 11 signs. So this is a good placement according to the third house efforts. Siblings can also be good, maybe have to stay distant from each other, but can be cooperative in that way if Venus is well placed. Because Venus here is the problem is that Pisces, the first house Pisces, then second house it is Taurus, and so here Venus is not a very good compatible planet with Jupiter. That is a problem with whenever Venus and Jupiter combination comes, but it is compatible with Saturn. Saturn sitting here will give the good implications of the third house. That can be good. Fourth house is Gemini. Fourth house Gemini, yes, Saturn, though it gives a heavy heart, Saturn in the fourth is not very welcome usually, but yeah, it can build upon the fourth house things, resources over a period of time. This person can have to travel long distance to different countries for their living, because Saturn sitting in the fourth can cut you off for your desires, because the 11th lord can cut you off for your desires from the land where you are staying to far off distance, because it is aspecting the 10th house. The 5th house is Cancer. It can little bit delay in the progeny can happen. In the Pushya Nakshatra, Saturn is better in the 5th house, but lot of attention, you know, because it's a karma. Saturn is a karma planet. Wherever it sits, it gives a lot of concern regarding that house. And here the 11th lord is sitting in the 5th house. It can give a lot of desires regarding that house, and it can improve the status also, but the mind can feel a little heavy, because Saturn, 5th house is the mind, the mental condition, though it can feel a little bit heavy. 6th house Saturn in the sign of Leo, a person has to, it is good in the 6th, being in the Aperture house, but has to fight against all odds to get the 6th house things done, because Leo is the opposite sign of Saturn. It is a mixed thing, because Saturn works in good in Aperture houses, but here the sign is Leo. That is a problem. 7th house, it is in the sign of Virgo. Virgo, Saturn here, 7th house, it's 11th lord, and they'll have a lot of desires with the partner. They want a partner, but the marriage can happen late. The partner can be a little, you know, older or dry or Satanic like. So that can create a little bit of problem in that area. Business can be good, because Saturn works good in Virgo sign. 8th house Saturn, 8th house is a sign of Libra. 8th house Saturn, whenever Saturn is sitting in the 8th house, some significance of the 8th house is good, because it's an exalted position. Inheritances and all these things, in-laws can be good, but see, the 11th lord, whenever it is in the 8th house, the desires, to fulfill the desire, something needs to be sacrificed, because the 8th house is like that. Something has to go, then other things will come. So some significations of the 11th house may go, then the things about the 8th house can increase, because the desire lord is there in the 8th. 9th house, it is in the sign of Scorpio. Again, there can be little problem with the father. The Saturn in the 9th house delays the luck. And Scorpio is also the original 8th house. It delays the luck. It's a Martian sign. Saturn can want to do a lot of things, but here 9th house is not the house for Saturn. It does not work very well in the 9th house. That is the problem. The relation with the father can be distant, or the father had to work very hard to set up his life. These things can happen. The luck can go to a little delay. The person can feel a little not that fortunate, I may put it in that way, but the experiences will make him better in day by day. 10th house is the sign of Sagittarius. It is the Lagna Lord sign. Saturn here will make work long hours. After a long period of time, things will happen, and because Saturn in the 10th, it is in a good position, and it's all the 11th Lord also. Foreign related things can happen because it's a 12th Lord also, but mainly because the 11th Lord in the 10th gives good results. So Saturn also, because it's a slow moving planet, it gives good results, but over a period of time, over a little bit of, not a little bit, consistently working hard towards that goals. So this is the 11th Lord in different houses. So here I complete all the ascendants. So hope this approach has given some light on the way we treat the 11th Lord for each of the ascendants. So I'll bring some other video regarding the 11th house. It's a very dynamic, very a house that needs to be talked about, because we all have desires. So over here I conclude this video. Thanks for watching me. Have a good day.